Hey guys, Hybrid here, and today I'm going to be doing, obviously, my next DC screenplay. Now, I do apologize. I didn't realize it's been a month since my last one, so wow, I'm kind of behind schedule with these more than I wanted to be. But yeah, so this is the third Batman one titled Nightmare. Now, obviously, if you want to know every little detail, I recommend you listen to the first Batman one and the second Batman one, and the first Justice League and the second Justice League, even though the Justice Leagues aren't as important as the other Batman ones, because obviously this is a Batman movie I'm making, not a Justice League with Batman just in the forefront movie. Also, I did character kind of like intros sort of in my Justice League one last time. I tried that out. While I did think it was cool, I thought that it kind of killed like plot twists I had and character reveals I had in my stories, because you already knew the characters are in there. So I'm not doing that this time. If you did like it though, comment below. Maybe I'll bring it back. But it's just for the sake of this one, there's certain things I had in it that if I had character like, I guess like credits beforehand, it would really kill the twist. So I'm not doing that. Now this one though takes place a year after Justice League 2. And yeah, let's begin. I don't want to make this too long because obviously some people, may be not distracted, but they may be pushed to not listen to this. And I really love making these stories, and they're not the feedback I've gotten. There you go. I can't even talk. The feedback I've gotten so far has been overwhelmingly positive about all of my screenplays in general. So I'm really happy about that. I hope you guys really like this one. As always, just minimize your browser, flip over your phone, do something, because this isn't a viewing experience more as much as it is a listening experience. So I want you to, I'm going to tell you the story, just close your eyes stuff, and, just watch the movie I'm telling you in your mind. And yeah, when you're done listening, comment below how'd you feel about it. Yeah, but without further ado, let's begin. It's 10:30 p.m. Batman and Robin are on patrol, trying to get sources for a new drug hitting the streets that causes the user to experience mass hallucinations, and also it numbs feelings of pain. But the negative side is the potential to be very lethal. So it's not a case where everyone that takes it kills them, but it has a high chance of killing you, especially if you have other things in your system. Now, Batman and Robin operate, throughout the night as if they're one person. They're completely in sync, and it'd be really cool seeing them go rooftop to rooftop with no issues, completely fluid, as if they're both reading each other's mind, like where each one's going next, stuff like that, because obviously they're partners, and they're very well-trained partners. And as this is taking place a year after the second Justice League screenplay I wrote, this brings their partnership to 2.5, about 3 years-ish, kind of. So they've been doing this for a while, and they definitely know how to play off each other at this point. Now, surprisingly, they don't find anything tonight in Gotham, at least nothing that was, they're investigating currently. So Bruce makes them train the Batcave instead. While sparring, Dick notices that Bruce's reflexes are slower than usual, while he also has noticeable bags under his eyes. Now, if you don't remember, Dick Grayson has a thing for body language and body movement. That's one really awesome thing about him, especially when he's fighting, is that he can kind of predict where the user is going to go next by predicting their body movement. But also, he can tell a lot about somebody by just, looking at them and, kind of analyzing certain aspects of their physical features. So this is another case of that. Now, he also notices that Bruce's eyes appear to be slightly strained, indicating that he's potentially been awake too long. So Dick calls for a break, and, he uses that break to ask Bruce about the amount of rest he's getting. Now, Alfred, who's been watching them spar while preparing, a healthy snack, as Alfred does every once in a while, also wonders the same thing. Now, Bruce claims that he was just reading on a case late yesterday after patrol. There's nothing to worry about, but obviously Dick doesn't believe him, yet he still goes along with it anyways. So later on, around 3 a.m., Batman is perched on top of a rooftop using binoculars to watch a drug trade going on in a parking lot. Now, it's kind of like the parking lot we saw in the beginning of The Dark Knight. It's obviously that's a parking garage, but this is like the outside of it. So there's a parking garage and outside regular parking lot. So Batman's, like I said, perched on a statue, and it's really cool because currently there's a massive thunderstorm occurring, so it makes it look really epic. So if you see the image on the screen, that's pretty much probably, this is what it looks like, and it's pretty cool. Also, I hope you guys like my thumbnail while I'm talking about images. But anyways, Batman doesn't seem to care about the thunderstorm going on right now, and only seems to be, caring about what's going on with this, like, drug trade going on. Now, he looks with, like, increasingly dedication. Like, he just looks with his binoculars, just kind of viewing, so to speak, until he sees someone come out of a van. And this person is Scarecrow. Now, I haven't brought in Scarecrow up in my screenplay yet. It's one of those things where I don't feel like I have to give an explanation to the character's origins, because that would detract from the story, but also because everyone's familiar with his origins by now, that I don't feel like I have to repeat it again, because it'd just be retracing the same old stuff and be wasting your time, be wasting my time, and we don't have time for that. So Scarecrow pulls out a new drug, a new hallucinogen. He claims he produced solely himself, which affects the amygdala and the hippocampus of the brain in unnatural ways. Now, Scarecrow is essentially, he is the head drug manufacturer in Gotham City right now, which is why Batman is obviously very interested in this drug trade going on, especially when Scarecrow emerged out of the van. Now, at this point, though, Batman crashes on top of a car, trying to produce an intimidating entrance, as Batman always does, telling Scarecrow and the thugs there to get on the floor. Or I guess get on the ground would be more appropriate. Now, the thugs use their handguns they have to shoot at Batman, causing Batman to have to evade behind a concrete wall, now inside of the parking garage. Now, all but 3 of the thugs go into the garage after Batman, which prompts Batman to kill the lights. Now, in total darkness, Batman takes down every thug in seconds, as his cowl has night vision. This would be pretty cool to see in film. We've seen stuff like it before, but I don't think we've ever seen it in night vision sense. Like, we've seen it with that weird sonar sense. We've seen it in slightly pitch black darkness. So this would be pretty cool to see what it looks like in night vision, to see Batman just going around taking out everybody. So he does that, and now when he gets outside, though, he notices that the other thugs and Scarecrow have been roped up by Robin. Robin questions Batman, why he's out without him doing this, especially, because Scarecrow is supposed to be a joint case with Batman and Robin, not a personal case. Batman tells him that what he does is none of Robin's business, to which Robin interrupts him, saying it is his business because he's his partner. Now, Batman doesn't respond, instead sending a message to Lieutenant Gordon so the Gotham City Police Department can take Scarecrow and also the thugs. And also he calls the Batmobile. Now, Robin then turns to leave when Scarecrow, who was thought to be, tied up and, done for, shoots Robin in the arm with his new drug, which is called Fear. Now, Robin feels fine for a few seconds, but then he starts seeing his worst fears come to life, causing him great emotional pain. Now, I'd really leave this up to the director, but we could see stuff like his parents just getting killed over and over again, something really, impactful like that. Or we could just see, like, random criminals that maybe Robin's a little bit afraid of. We could see his greatest fear being Batman being killed and him being alone. We could see his greatest fear. Like, I'm a big fan of Robin and Alfred's relationship, so maybe instead of seeing Batman die, we see Alfred die, or I don't know, something along those lines. Really, it's up to the director, but, it's just at this moment in the film, we'd see Robin's fears. Very shortly after, the Batmobile appears, and Batman immediately takes Robin to the Batmobile, where he sets it on course to the Batcave. There, he also sends information to Alfred that he may need to neutralize the fear, while he goes back into the night with no explanation. So Batman's not in the Batcave with Dick and Alfred. He just sends Dick to Alfred, so Alfred, I guess, can take care of Dick. Now, that sounds really wrong. Anyways, Dick goes back to normal in about 40 minutes later, because it takes Alfred about 18 to 25 minutes to make the cure for it, and then the rest of it, for it to get out of the system, stuff like that. And then he passes out from the strain it took on his body, because obviously this is a very mentally and physically draining drug here. It makes you strongly hallucinate. He felt that he is actually, reliving his fears, which is horrible, I'd assume, especially for someone like Robin. Now, at around 9 p.m., later that night, because remember, this was 3 a.m., Dick finally wakes up with a slight headache. Now, he asks Alfred where Bruce is, but Alfred responds that Bruce hasn't returned since, he brought Dick to the Batcave. Now, Dick calls Batman, but Batman answers telling him that he's too busy at the moment and hangs up, which obviously makes Dick extremely furious, and he puts on his Robin gear and just departs into the night, with no explanation whatsoever. Very Batman-esque. And this really bothers Alfred, so Alfred, being a very concerned, kind of like parental figure, for both Batman and somewhat Robin, calls an unknown number. Now, Robin's sitting on top of a Ferris wheel in Gotham's carnival area, debating on whether he wants to be Robin anymore, or not even if he wants to be Robin, but if he wants to even be with Batman anymore, because at this point he's at least 18, I'd say 20 at the most, so he can be on his own. And while he's debating this, he sees a red and blue blur appear before him, which is Superman. And Superman asks Dick if he's okay. Now we learn that the person Alfred called was really Superman, because this is Superman. This isn't like a jerk. This is a great guy, a great mentor, stuff like that. And also this is a kind of callback to the comics if you know what I'm about to do next. But Dick tells Superman what's on his mind, and Superman gives him some advice along the lines where Dick tells Superman that he feels like Bruce is casting him out, even though he wants to help bring justice to Gotham just as much as Bruce does when they're as Batman and Robin. And he just doesn't understand why Bruce, ever since Hal Jordan died in the Justice League 2 screenplay, he doesn't understand why Bruce has just been so, not seclusive, but he's just not been himself really. He's been very private and very dark and very, not gentle, I guess, in a sense, if that makes sense. He's just really retracted into himself in a negative way. Now, Superman tells Dick about the Kryptonian legend of Nightwing, who had similar, kind of origins. He felt casted out, and all he wanted to do is help others to the best he could. And, what he did was he took on the name of Nightwing, which is actually a Kryptonian deity that the Kryptonians worshipped. But this person took on the name of Nightwing and went out and saved, fellow Kryptonians and stuff like that. Now, anyways, the whole purpose of that is that it inspires Dick to not give up superheroics, but now he knows what he wants to do, and he at this point he feels like he needs to be his own person. And that's time he is his own person and gets out of Bruce's shadow, so to speak, because he feels like at this point it's not doing anything anymore. And yeah, so Dick decides to head to Bloodhaven, but not before giving Alfred a letter addressed to Bruce. If you know what I just did, you probably know what I just did. I pretty much just clearly said it without directly saying it, but awesome stuff. But anyways, a few days later, Bruce finally returns with a heavily damaged batsuit, with several cuts and bruises, and, no explanation where he got them from. Now, Alfred, obviously quite concerned, asks him about it, while handing him the card that Dick gave him to give to Bruce. But Bruce simply sets it down, never reading it. So the next night, we see Batman with a new repaired batsuit, which is much more combat-oriented looking. Like more padding, much more, like the knuckles of it are hardened, I guess, to give more impact for his punches. Pretty cool all around. It's nice to see a more combat-oriented batsuit versus just an all-around batsuit. So like I said before, the next night we see Batman enter a fight club ruled by someone called the Prince of Crime. Now, we don't know who this is, but we learn Batman went to this fight club after Scarecrow got away, because word on the street was that Scarecrow is making drugs primarily for this Prince of Crime. And also, while Batman was there, he was injected with some type of drug that distorted his sense of time, which is why he was gone for so long, because he really thought he was gone for a few hours, but it was really days. So Batman, aware of this now, is not an idiot, and obviously has equipped antidotes, various antidotes, in his utility belt that will hopefully neutralize any drug he's exposed to in case he does get exposed to any drugs. Now, Batman fights through every single guard that's there in a full-on brutal beatdown. It's really cool. I'm envisioning, if you want to put this in a visual perspective with another media, the Arkham games, the challenge maps they have, where basically you just fight until you can't fight no more for like 4 rounds. That's pretty cool. That's what I'm thinking of here, just a really cool scene that basically just showcases Batman's brutal fighting ability, and the fact that he can basically take down anyone he wants to with his hands. And also, gadgets, stuff like that too. But basically, we get to see Batman breaking bones, paralyzing people, etc. This is pretty brutal here. Batman's not really letting up at all at this point. And the result of this is that we see tons of people's blood on the Batsuit, especially on the knuckles area and the knee area, the feet, the boots area, the palm area when he's striking people. So I'm trying to paint a pretty brutal Batman movie, if you couldn't tell, just violence-wise. Now, at the Prince of Crime's throne, all we hear is a laugh. Now, a figure gets up from the throne and approaches Batman. Now, this figure is slightly muscular. Not really muscular. I mean muscular in a sense where obviously he gets some sort of physical activity in his life, but he's not skin and bones. Not like a super skinny, never works out in his life type of thing. He's done some work in his life, but he isn't a heavy weightlifter or anything like that. Now, the person also has bleached skin, dark green hair, blackish red lips, and a custom purple suit. Now, in his left hand are steel Joker playing cards, while in his right he has a gun. Now, the figure just looks at Batman with a crazed stare that seems to have no end until he just starts laughing. Batman asks if he's the Prince of Crime that, everyone's been talking about, to which the figure responds no and yes. He says he doesn't really care for the name or care about any name he has, but he does like the Joker because he claims everything's a joke, especially anything he does or anyone else does for that matter, because in the grand scheme it doesn't matter for anything. He says life is just one big joke. And he says that the official title he actually has is not the Prince of Crime, but the Clown Prince of Crime, as he starts laughing while pointing the gun he has in his hand at Batman. Now, he pulls the trigger, which prompts Batman to evade away, but a bullet doesn't come out. Instead, we just have a white flag with a bang sign on it that comes out. So if anyone's ever seen the Batman animated series, Joker always had that gun that instead of shooting out bullets, it just shot the pole. Didn't actually shoot anything out. Just a pole came out with a white flag that said bang on it. Just as one big joke. Now the Joker, and that's what Joker just did. Now the Joker then laughs at Batman, saying he can't take a joke at all, where Batman dashes towards Joker after seeing it's not a real gun. Now, while Batman's dashing towards Joker, Joker throws his steel playing cards at Batman, which obviously hits him around his suit, but cuts him when one of them hits his chin. Now Batman, though, still gets to the Joker, obviously, and lands a strong strike which breaks the Joker's jaw. So after this, he basically wraps up the Joker. He uses that bat rope, and he proceeds to call Lieutenant Gordon to arrest the Joker while he starts feeling a bit sick. So he goes back to Wayne Manor and rests. Now we do something very interesting that I've never done in my screenplay before, which is a time skip. Now this time skip is quite big. It's 16 months later. Now there is a purpose for this, and if you're kind of getting bored, if you're kind of being what does this all have to do with anything? Wait until the end of my screenplay. I promise you, it will pay off, and the twist that will be at the end, you're gonna love it. I just kind of spoiled it by saying there's a twist, but you're gonna love it, nevertheless. But anyways, 16 months later, Bruce is running through his day with Alfred, while Alfred obviously tells him about how many events he's probably blowing off tonight in regards to being Batman. So earlier he goes to lunch with Selina Kyle, who he's now dating actually. She was in the last Batman screenplay as a potential date, but now they're actually dating. And later on, he attends a Wayne Tech board meeting. At night, though, he glides throughout the night until he arrives on top of the GCPD building. There, he talks to Gordon, who's now commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department, who's waiting for him with a new case. There's underground arena fights going on throughout Gotham, with a man named Waylon Jones, aka Killer Croc, leading it on. Now, Gordon wants Batman to end the arena before it spreads further, as it's starting to become a danger to public safety at this point. So Batman drives to the Gotham tunnels, where he meets a young woman with Batman-like apparel also. Batman talks to this woman, who we learn is Batgirl, and asks if she has any new intel on Killer Croc. Now, we learn here that Batgirl is actually Batman's new partner, replacing Nightwing, and Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara Gordon. She says that Killer Croc has been mutated slightly due to a combination of artificial enhancements that were intended to harden his skin and bones, while also taking a strength-enhancing drug called Venom, which is fairly new to Gotham City. Batman then prepares his utility belt with gear from the Batmobile before he sends it off. At the arena, he has Batgirl take Recon, basically just stay in the shadows and not do anything, while Batman himself goes for Croc. Now, Killer Croc is a very muscular, 8-foot-tall male with green scaly skin. I guess 8 feet tall, sorry, not 8 foot tall. Batman gets beat badly by Killer Croc initially in their fight, only saved by the gear he has in his utility belt, like explosive gas, like stun grenade gas, pellets, stuff like that. That makes no sense. Stun pellets, there we go, not stun gas pellets. Anyways, the fight's pretty brutal between the two. It gets to the point where Batman's like even spitting out blood. He's getting beat so bad, fighting Croc, who's obviously a much more higher level physical physical opponent than Batman is. But Batman has something that Killer Croc doesn't have, which is wits. So, noticing Killer Croc doesn't watch his environment while fighting, he just focuses on the opponent, very, dumb as a fighter. Batman throws several batarangs around Croc, making it seem as if he just missed. Now, with all the force Batman can muster, he kicks Killer Croc onto the ground before leaping up in the air while activating, the batarangs that he threw on the ground. Now, we learn that these were actually explosive batarangs, which, the explosions grouped together knocks Killer Croc out while producing enough hot air from the explosions to actually lift Batman off the ground with his, cape, obviously, and he's able to glide out of the tunnels. Really badass style. I don't know how to put this in like a visionary sense, but it'd be pretty cool to see Batman just basically outsmarts Killer Croc and then just badass glides out of there. So anyways, from here, he calls Batmobile as Batgirl says the arena is over without Croc leading them on, because pretty much Killer Croc was like the ringmaster of this. Without the ringmaster, yes, there's a void of power, but no one's going to want to challenge anyone now because Batman just took out Killer Croc. And really, Killer Croc is the most badass figure in the arena, so you see what I'm going here? Like, no one wants to, obviously, have to get beat by Batman. So, Batgirl calls GCPD to take Croc in, and anyone else at the arena still there, while Bruce talks to Alfred, who reminds him that tomorrow is Dick Grayson's birthday. So Bruce says he'll see Dick tomorrow before he heads off to bed. The next night, Batman's out on patrol again with Batgirl, and this time they've actually found Scarecrow. So they crash Scarecrow's news drug trade as Scarecrow tries running away. Now Batman corners Scarecrow until he's sprayed with Scarecrow's newest product, the Fear Gas. So this is a much more highly concentrated version of what Dick Grayson was exposed to last time. The Fear Gas causes Batman to hallucinate in a violent manner, which, causes him to see enemies of his past, while also obviously making him see his greatest fears, and everything around him just scares the crap out of him. He tells Batgirl to help him fight, but she fades off, disappears, kind of like as if she was never there. Now out of nowhere, we see someone in a red hood arrive, coming towards Batman. Now Batman thinks he's trying to fight, but he fights this red hooded figure, but the Red Hood's not trying to fight him, even though obviously they do get into a fight, which showcases that both of them have pretty good training in hand-to-hand combat. But Batman does edge it out as he appears to be a bit stronger and have better training, while this Red Hooded figure appears to be a little bit more faster and agile. So he's about to beat this Red Hooded figure until the Red Hooded figure is able to knock him down and stab him, or not really stab him, more like inject him with an unknown object. We then here see that the hallucinations start fading away, with the Red Hood figure not being like this Red Hooded figure we thought it was, but it's actually Dick Grayson as Nightwing. It turns out Batman was just hallucinating this whole thing. But it would be pretty cool to see this because I don't envision Jason Todd appearing anytime soon in my screenplays, so this would be the closest that, any Batman would get to see of Batman and Red Hood. So I thought I'd do this as a fan service kind of. But yeah, so Nightwing brings Batman back to the Batcave, where he explains that he's been infected by not only the Fear Gas, but there is also another drug in his system, which had been there for an incredibly long-lasting period of time, that was distorting his perception of various things. Now, Bruce asks where Batgirl is, but Dick reveals to him, this is the big plot twist I was talking about, that she was never there. She was just a hallucination that he made. And Bruce obviously denies this, saying that, her name is Barbara Gordon. Commissioner Gordon has a daughter. To which Dick reveals, yes, Barbara Gordon is a real person, but she's only 14 years old. She's not, 19 years old like Batman thought she was. Basically, this was all a lie that, Bruce had in his subconscious. And, from here, Dick goes upstairs to get ready for this birthday dinner that Alfred made for him. Because obviously, as a Gotham socialite, this is a very big deal. Various guests are here, so Dick has to go upstairs and be a good somewhat host while Alfred and Bruce get ready. So at least while Alfred helps Bruce get ready. Now, Alfred at this point pretty much goes off on Bruce. He questions the essence of Batman and various other stuff. Now, this is basically Alfred being the father-like figure he is and telling Bruce, to his face, the truth. He questions basically his subconscious desires. That is he Batman because he wants to be Batman, or is he Batman because he needs to be Batman? Like, does he have a desire to, physically beat on others to get out the rage he felt from, his parents' murder, or is he actually doing it to help others? And he uses Dick Grayson as an example. He says that, he needs to stop being afraid to, open up to people, because it's obvious that his greatest fear, as these drugs have pointed out, is that his greatest fear is to be alone. Which is why, when Robin left, he hallucinated a new partner, Batgirl. So basically, Alfred just points out various flaws of Bruce has, especially in his subconscious and his psyche, which really hits Bruce. And, Bruce then goes upstairs apologizing to Dick, and the two of them, they host a party, and we start seeing that maybe they could start building a more mutual partnership, kind of like they did before, but obviously Dick Grayson is not Robin anymore. He is now Nightwing, and he doesn't even operate in Gotham anymore. He operates in Bloodhaven. Now, later on, though, Batman does visit the Joker, saying that he knows that he's infected him, or he did infect him with a variation of Scarecrow's drug with one of his cards years ago, because obviously Batman went back, did a crap ton of detective work, and found this out. Now, the Joker smiles like a kid that just got a bunch of candy on Halloween and just laughs. Batman asks why he does this, saying that this is too planned out and well executed to be a product of insanity, because everyone else just thinks that Joker is plainly insane. But the Joker responds that he did it as a joke, claiming that he made Batman live with this hidden fear for essentially over a year without Batman even noticing, which he thinks is hilarious. And then Batman leaves Arkham Asylum with the halls echoing behind him the Joker's laugh. And that's where we leave off. Like I said before, this is a very personal Batman story for me. It was more exploring the fault of Batman. Not even the fault of Batman. I don't even know how to really say it. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. I know it's a bit long, so if you've stayed on for it this whole time, thank you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Hopefully I'll try writing it. It'll be out next week. I'm not going to try doing a month apart anymore because that's way too long. I have way too screenplays left to do for that to happen. Basically, yeah. So, I'm going to go get some rest. I'm really tired. You couldn't tell while I was recording this. I've been up for like 15 hours. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. This is Hybrid, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.